10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Thank you all for coming again to watch. Today, we are diving into one of the most fundamental questions that affect how we live, work, and connect with others. Individualism versus community-based societies. Which is truly better for personal success, happiness, and growth? Well, I've got my opinion on that, but I'm going to keep you guessing until the very end. First, let's explore what each of these philosophies entails and weigh their pros and cons. Individualism emphasizes personal freedom, independence, and self-reliance. Think about countries like the United States, where people value the right to pursue their own rules and define success on their own terms. So, what are the advantages of individualism? One advantage is personal freedom. You can chart your own course without worrying about what others expect of you. Your life is your own design. Another advantage is innovation and creativity. Many of the world's greatest inventions come from people who dared to think differently and follow their individual passions. It also seems to be that countries that are very individualistic have on average way more inventions in comparison to other countries. Another advantage I can think of is self-reliance. Individualism often promotes personal responsibility and self-sufficiency. You are not waiting for society to help you succeed. You make things happen. But here's the flip side. Of course, individualism has disadvantages. It's not all sunshine and freedom and whatever benefits come with it. One disadvantage is isolation. When everyone is focused on their own individual goals, it can be easy to feel disconnected from others. You might lack that sense of belonging or community. Another disadvantage is lack of support systems. In an individualistic society, if you fall on hard times, there's a less of a built-in support system to help you recover. You can compare the United States, for example, to other countries that offer more welfare systems, such as even France, for example. Even Germany is another example compared to the United States. And another very good example would be, of course, the Scandinavian countries. And you can see the difference in terms of America is a very individualistic society, and you see the results of that in terms of what happens when you fall on hard times. Another one is selfishness. In some cases, the focus on individual can lead to selfish and make it harder to work collectively for the common good. Now, let's talk about community-based societies. These cultures emphasize the group over the individual. People in these societies work together, share resources, and often place the needs of the community above their own. So, what's great about this approach? One advantage is strong social ties. People in community-based societies tend to have a strong sense of belonging, and there's a real emphasis on family and communal support. I'll give an example. One of the things I noticed when I came back to the United States, I was born here, was the fact that you have these homes of the elderly. You know, that's even unthinkable in some cultures. It's literally unthinkable. Even in most of Africa, when your parents are elderly, you take care of them. If they can't take care of themselves, you move them into your house. My grandmother was taken care of by my cousins. But my point is that community is emphasized in such cultures as African cultures. I think I've seen that also in Hispanic cultures and in Asian cultures as well. In the Middle East as well, that's quite common. So the issue here is that you take care of your elderly. That's one of the things that I noticed, a huge difference between individualistic societies and community-based societies was that huge difference that I noticed, which was the tendency to take care of the elderly, bring them in your own house and take care of them instead of leaving them in a nursing home and, you know, when they are they really can't support themselves. Another advantage that I can think of is collective responsibility. Basically, numbers matter, right? If there are many people doing a task, it makes work much more easier than one person doing a task. Also in these societies, if one person is struggling, the community steps in. It's all mutual aid. Another advantage is stability. The focus on tradition and societal norms creates a sense of order and security. But just like with individualism, there are some drawbacks of community-based society too. One disadvantage is conformity in community-based societies. Individual expression and personal desires can sometimes be stifled. I'll give an example. I explained to you how I was very westernized, and there was a lot of indirect stifling, I must confess, which I don't have time to talk about here. When I was growing up in my teen years, because I was in a community-based society, that's where I grew up as a teenager, and so that was an issue. The pressure to conform to societal norms can limit personal freedoms, as I previously described. Another disadvantage is a lack of innovation. With so much emphasis on maintaining tradition and group harmony, there can be less room for creative thinking or breaking with the mold. Another one is group pressure. While community-based societies offer support, there's also the expectation that you will follow the rules even when they don't align with your personal beliefs or desires. This is basically one of the issues that you have to deal with in a community-based society. So, if given the choice between individualism and community-based societies, if those were the only two choices, you can't pick one and try to combine them, you have to pick one. I would pick individualism personally. Okay, that's what my view is. But this video is not about picking between two choices. It's about looking for the best way to have a better society and better individual rights. Okay, so that's what I'm looking out for here. So here's what I think the solution is. So you've heard the arguments for individualism and community-based societies, and I've told you what I would choose if I made it was between the two choices. But however, here's a disadvantage of individualism. Individualism gives you freedom, but you might end up isolated. Community-based societies offer support, but they can sometimes feel restrictive. It's a tough call. Even for me to pick individualism was just like if I had to pick between two. It's really a tough call because they both have huge advantages but also have huge disadvantages. Is there a way to take the advantages from both and minimize the disadvantages for both? Neither approach is perfect on its own. So what I was thinking of is the Japanese system. The Japanese system is the way to go. This fascinating blend of both worlds provides a unique model for us to consider. Japan is a country where privacy rights are deeply respected. People value their individual space and freedom. However, there's also a strong sense of social responsibility. The Japanese also prioritize community norms, respect for others, and the well-being of the group. The Japanese value privacy and independence. Individuals are free to pursue their own goals, but there is an expectation that their actions won't disrupt the harmony of the community. They emphasize minding your own business. This means what you do in your private home is private. For example, it's very unlikely that if P. Diddy was in Japan, let's say, that we'll be talking about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's very, very unlikely because that would be considered private. They would talk about his crimes, they'll talk about what he did, what the allegations are, but it's very, very unlikely that they'll be talking about what he did in his private life, his sex life, or anything about him being freaky or anything like that.
Oh yeah, baby.
The Japanese have a word that they use in Japanese for privacy called uraibeshi. It's written in katakana. For those people who speak Japanese. Uraibeshi. I might be mispronouncing it a little bit. The Japanese emphasize privacy so much that you can get sued for even spreading rumors that are actually true. You can be sued for spreading facts if they involve the privacy of an individual and there was no crime committed. Yes, there are libel laws put a person's privacy, even if they're a public figure, at the forefront. I'll just give a recent example. The Unification Church, its followers and associated organizations have filed several lawsuits against Japanese broadcasting stations, lawyers, journalists, former believers of the Unification Church, these are the Moonies, and other people who discuss the issue of fundraising and proselytizing practices. Now, this is in connection with the assassination over Shinzo Abe. So Shinzo Abe was assassinated by a son of a member of the Unification Church, and that had to do with how money. It's a long story. You can Google it. I don't want to divert too much into the story here, but if you Google it, it's very easy to find. Just put Shinzo Abe and the Universal Church, or Shinzo Abe assassination and the Universal Church in Google, and you find a lot of information about it. May discuss it in the future. But basically, this church has sued, despite the fact that everything that's been said is actually true. Everything has documentation, it's actually true. And guess what? They're likely to win. Because I haven't checked on the cases to see if they won, but they're likely to win. Because in Japan, you can't just talk about things that have nothing to do with crime. You have to accuse the organization of committing a crime. So if it was something that they did that was illegal, if they were acting like the mafia or something like that, then that's okay. But you can't be talking about something that they do that maybe the public may frown upon, but it's perfectly legal for them to do. So this is how much the privacy laws spread. They even spread to organizations and churches. At the same time, societal norms play a major role in ensuring that everyone is contributing to the collective good, creating a balanced, harmonious society. It's the way I explained the arrangement. It may not even be a direct arrangement between the Yakuza and the police. Let me make that clear. It may be more of an indirect arrangement where both sides know the culture. You know, the police know that, look, if they're doing their business, you know, we should only intervene if there's a severe case of societal, or if there's a societal harm. And the Yakuza know that, and the Yakuza are very careful to make sure that they don't get the innocent people affected by their illegal activities. Social infractions are dealt with quickly and aggressively. It's no wonder Japan has a low crime rate. The Japanese system balances both worlds. It's the best of both worlds. A society that values personal freedoms while promoting collective responsibility and respect. But ultimately, the Japanese model is where both individual rights and community welfare are valued. And that might be just the most balanced way forward. At least that's what I think. Hey, but what do you think? Do you prefer individuality, or do you prefer community-based societies, or a hybrid of the two like the Japanese system? Let me know in the comments below and what your views are. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.